The phone slipped from Patrick's hand, crashing onto the kitchen floor with a thud that echoed through his empty apartment. His father's voice still rang in his ears. "You're dead to us, Patrick. Don't come back." It was the day after his 25th birthday, and instead of celebration, he'd been disowned for coming out as gay. The family home in suburban Chicago now promised entirely to his brother Ben, the golden child who fit their perfect mold. Patrick stared at the cracked screen, his chest tightening as memories flooded in. Growing up, he'd always been the quiet one, excelling in school but hiding his true self behind a facade of normalcy. Ben, 2 years older, was the athlete, the charmer, the one their conservative parents paraded at church gatherings. "Ben's going places," his mother would say, beaming. Patrick? He was the afterthought, the one who needed to find his way. But when Patrick finally mustered the courage to tell them about his feelings for men, the reaction was swift and brutal. His father, a stern accountant with unyielding religious beliefs, slammed the door in his face. His mother wept, calling it a sin that would drag the family down. And Ben? He just stood there, silent, avoiding eye contact. That silence hurt the most. Ben had known for years. Patrick had confided in him during a late-night talk in their shared bedroom as teens. "I got your back, bro," Ben had said then, punching his shoulder playfully. But now, with the inheritance on the line, Ben's loyalty evaporated. The house, a spacious colonial worth over $500,000, was signed over to him that very week. Patrick was cut off financially, emotionally, everything. He moved to a dingy studio in the city, scraping by on a barista job while pursuing his graphic design dreams on the side. Days blurred into weeks. Patrick threw himself into work, but the rejection gnawed at him. He questioned every decision. Was coming out worth this isolation? Nights were the worst, lying awake replaying the confrontation. "You're choosing this path over your family," his father had accused. But it wasn't a choice, it was who he was. To cope, Patrick joined a local LGBTQ support group, where he met Mark. Mark was everything Patrick needed. Kind, outspoken, with a laugh that cut through the gloom. A teacher in his early 30s, Mark had his own scars from a similar family fallout, but he'd rebuilt his life with quiet determination. Their first coffee date turned into hours of conversation. "Family isn't always blood," Mark said, his hand brushing Patrick's. "Sometimes it's the people who choose you." Patrick felt a spark, a warmth he hadn't known possible. But even as their relationship blossomed, stolen walks in Grant Park, shared dinners in cozy cafes, the shadow of his family's betrayal loomed. He confided in Mark about the disownment, the house given to Ben. "They treated me like I was defective," Patrick admitted one evening, tears stinging his eyes. Mark listened, then pulled him close. "You're not defective. You're brave." Their bond deepened, built on mutual understanding and subtle affections. No grand gestures, just the quiet support that mended Patrick's fractured heart. Yet doubt lingered. What if his family was right? What if being gay meant a life of perpetual loss? Meanwhile, Ben reveled in his new status. With the house secured, he proposed to his girlfriend Sarah, planning a lavish wedding funded by their parents. Patrick brought this on himself, Ben rationalized during family dinners, echoing their father's words. But deep down, guilt flickered. He remembered the brother who'd helped him with homework, covered for his teenage antics. Now Patrick was a ghost, uninvited to holidays, erased from photos. Patrick's life took an unexpected turn one rainy afternoon. Stopping at a corner store for coffee, he impulsively bought a lottery ticket, something he'd never done. "What the hell?" he muttered, scratching it off absent-mindedly. The numbers aligned. Jackpot. $50 million. His world spun. He double-checked, triple-checked, then collapsed onto his bed in shock. The news hit like a bombshell. Media swarmed, dubbing him the lucky outcast. His phone buzzed incessantly. Friends, distant relatives, and then, inevitably, his family. His mother's voicemail. "Patrick, honey, we need to talk. We've missed you." His father's text. "Come home. Let's put this behind us." Ben's call. "Bro, congrats. We should celebrate as a family. Patrick's initial elation soured into anger. Where were they when he was evicted, jobless, heartbroken? Mark urged caution. This is your chance to decide what family means to you. But the temptation gnawed. Forgiveness for acceptance? Or cut them off, mirroring their cruelty? He met Ben first at a neutral cafe. Ben arrived with a forced smile, hugging Patrick awkwardly. Man, this is huge. Mom and Dad are thrilled. Patrick cut in. Thrilled about the money or me?
Ben shifted uncomfortably.
Look, they were wrong. But family's family, right? We can fix this. Patrick's mind raced. Fix what? The years of conditional love? He left the meeting unresolved, the weight of his fortune amplifying every emotion. Society's gaze intensified too. Headlines speculated on his lifestyle, fueling online debates about gay rights and family values. Strangers praised his win as karma. Others condemned him for not reconciling immediately. As weeks passed, Patrick grappled with his windfall. He quit his job, invested wisely, but the money couldn't fill the void. Mark stood by him, their relationship a sanctuary amid the chaos. Don't let this define you, Mark whispered during a quiet night in. But Patrick knew decisions loomed. Confront his family or walk away forever. The pressure built. His parents invited him to dinner, the house, Ben's house, gleaming under evening lights. Patrick arrived, heart pounding. His mother hugged him tearfully. His father offered a stiff handshake. We've prayed for this, his mother said. For you to come back. Back to what? Patrick challenged. Hiding who I am? The dinner devolved into arguments, old wounds reopened. His father defended their stance. We raised you right. This choice, it's against our beliefs. Ben interjected weakly. Patrick, think about the future. We can share this. Share? The word ignited Patrick. You took everything when I had nothing. Now you want a piece. He stormed out, the rejection reversed. But the victory felt hollow. Was this justice or just more pain? Mark waited at home, concern etched on his face. You okay? Patrick collapsed into his arms, sobbing. I don't know if I can forgive them. Their embrace lingered, a reminder of true acceptance. Yet, the conflict raged on society's expectations, moral dilemmas, the cost of authenticity. In the aftermath of the disastrous dinner, Patrick retreated into isolation, his new wealth a double-edged sword. Paparazzi lurked outside his upgraded apartment in downtown Chicago, turning every outing into a spectacle. He hired a financial advisor, set up charities for LGBTQ youth, but the family's pleas persisted. Voicemails piled up. His mother's tearful apologies, his father's stern invitations to discuss matters. Ben texted daily, mixing congratulations with subtle hints about financial help for his wedding. Patrick confided in Mark during a weekend getaway to Lake Michigan. As they walked the shore, waves crashing rhythmically, Patrick voiced his turmoil. They only want me now because of the money, but part of me wonders if I should give them a chance for closure. Mark squeezed his hand. Closure doesn't mean forgiveness. It means peace for you. Their relationship had evolved into something profound, marked by quiet intimacies like shared sunsets and honest talks. Mark's steadiness anchored Patrick, but even he couldn't erase the inner storm. Back in the city, societal pressures mounted. A local news interview thrust Patrick into the spotlight. How does it feel to go from disowned to millionaire? The reporter asked. Patrick hesitated, then spoke truthfully. It feels like proof that love shouldn't be conditional. The clip went viral, sparking online forums debating family obligations versus personal identity. Supporters hailed him as a hero. Critics accused him of bitterness, claiming he owed his parents for raising him. The backlash hit hard. Anonymous messages flooded his inbox. Greedy fag. Share with your family. Patrick's anxiety spiked, sleep evading him. He questioned his choices. Had coming out been selfish? Mark noticed the change, pulling him into conversations about therapy. You've been through trauma. It's okay to seek help. Reluctantly, Patrick agreed. attending sessions where he unpacked years of suppressed pain. Meanwhile, Ben faced his own reckoning. The wedding planning stalled as guilt consumed him. Sarah noticed his distraction. "What's wrong?" she asked one night. Ben confessed, "I let Patrick down. Now he's rich and we're begging." Sarah urged reconciliation, but Ben knew it wasn't simple. He recalled childhood bonds, building forts, sharing secrets. How had it come to this? Ben decided to act. He showed up unannounced at Patrick's building, bypassing security with a bribe. "We need to talk alone," he insisted when Patrick opened the door. Reluctantly, Patrick let him in. The apartment, now tastefully furnished, contrasted sharply with their family home. "Nice place," Ben said awkwardly. "Cut the small talk," Patrick replied. "What do you want?"
Ben sighed.
"I was wrong. I should have stood up for you. But Dad, he's set in his ways." Patrick laughed bitterly. "And you? You took the house without a fight." Ben admitted, "I was scared of losing everything like you did." The confession hung heavy. For the first time, Patrick saw vulnerability in his brother, the pressure of being the perfect son. They talked for hours, unearthing buried resentments. Ben revealed their parents' financial struggles post-retirement, how the house was meant to secure the family. "But they chose you over me," Patrick countered.
Ben nodded.
"Yeah, and that was messed up." As Ben left, he hugged Patrick tightly. "I miss my brother." Patrick didn't reciprocate fully, but a crack formed in his armor. The encounter stirred Patrick's conscience. Was holding grudges worth perpetual loneliness? He discussed it with Mark over dinner. "Ben seemed genuine," Patrick said. Mark cautioned, "Genuine now with millions at stake?" Their debate highlighted the moral quagmire, forgiveness versus self-protection. Society's lens amplified the drama. A tabloid article painted Patrick as vindictive, quoting anonymous sources, likely family friends, about his rebellious phase. Outraged, Patrick considered legal action but opted for a public statement instead. On social media, he posted, "Money doesn't heal wounds, but it reveals truths. Family should love unconditionally." The post garnered thousands of shares, connecting him with others in similar plights. Emboldened, Patrick reached out to his parents, agreeing to a mediated meeting at a neutral therapist's office. The session was tense. His mother cried, "We were scared for your soul." His father grumbled, "Times are changing, but principles aren't." Patrick laid bare his pain. "You made me feel worthless." Admissions flowed, regrets, apologies, defenses. No resolution, but a dialogue began. Ben, inspired, confronted their parents privately. "Patrick is our family, gay or not. If you can't accept that, you're losing both sons." The ultimatum shocked them. His father stormed out. His mother pleaded for time. As months passed, Patrick's life stabilized. He and Mark moved in together, their home a haven of acceptance. But the family's fractures persisted, testing Patrick's resolve. A charity event brought unexpected confrontation. A distant relative accused him of buying forgiveness. Hurt, Patrick withdrew again, questioning if true change was possible. Mark's support never wavered. During a quiet evening, he proposed a trip abroad to escape the noise. "Let's build our own memories," he said. Patrick agreed, but the past clung like shadows. The high point came when Ben called with news. Dad's attending a PFLAG meeting. Parents and friends of lesbians and gays. A step toward understanding. Patrick's heart fluttered with hope, tempered by skepticism. Was this genuine or money-motivated? The internal conflict peaked. Patrick weighed the costs. Forgive and risk more hurt, or sever ties and embrace solitude. Society's judgments echoed, articles debating duty to family versus right to authenticity. Patrick realized his story wasn't unique. It mirrored countless LGBTQ struggles. Hope flickered tentatively as Patrick processed Ben's update. The PFLAG meeting marked a potential shift, but trust was fragile. He attended the next family gathering, a subdued barbecue at the old house, warily. His father greeted him gruffly, "Good to see you, son." The word son hung in the air, unused for years. His mother fussed over food, avoiding deep topics. Ben pulled Patrick aside. This is progress. Give it time. Mark accompanied him, a silent pillar. Introductions were awkward. His parents' politeness masked discomfort. So, you're friends? His mother asked. Patrick corrected firmly. Boyfriends. The word dropped like a stone, but no explosion followed. Instead, uneasy nods. Dinner conversations skirted controversy, focusing on neutral ground. Weather, sports, Patrick's win. Yet undercurrents swirled. His father mentioned church friends' opinions. Some say we've been too harsh. Patrick probed. And you? A pause. I'm trying. It wasn't enough, but it was something. Leaving, Patrick felt a mix of relief and exhaustion. Mark commented in the car. Baby steps. Societal ripples continued. Patrick's story inspired a documentary pitch, which he accepted cautiously. Filming unearthed raw emotions, interviews with support group members echoing his pain. One participant shared, families reject us, then society blames us for not reconciling. It highlighted the broader fight against homophobia. Ben's wedding approached, and he invited Patrick as best man. It'd mean the world, Ben said. Patrick hesitated, accepting meant endorsing a family still evolving. Mark advised, do it for you, not them. Ultimately, Patrick agreed, a gesture of tentative bridge building. Wedding preparations revealed cracks. Sarah confided in Patrick. Ben's torn up about the past. He wants to make amends. Patrick appreciated her insight, but doubts lingered. At the rehearsal dinner, a tipsy uncle toasted, to family sticking together, no matter what. Patrick forced a smile, but inside, resentment brewed. What about when they didn't stick? The ceremony was beautiful, lakeside vows under sunny skies. Patrick stood beside Ben, emotions churning. As rings exchanged, he reflected on his own dreams. Marriage, perhaps with Mark. But societal barriers persisted. Not all states embraced equality fully. Post-ceremony, his father approached. Proud of you boys. Plural. A milestone. Honeymoon over. Ben returned with a proposal. Joint family investments using Patrick's fortune. We could secure everyone's future. Patrick saw red. Another grab? Is that why you're nice now? Ben denied. No, it's about unity. The argument escalated. Old wounds reopening. Patrick accused. You betrayed me for that house. Ben countered. You think I wanted this divide? The fallout strained relations anew. His parents sided with Ben, calling Patrick ungrateful. After all we've done, his mother lamented. Patrick retorted. What have you done besides hurt me? He cut contact temporarily, retreating to Mark. Therapy sessions intensified. Patrick explored moral dilemmas. Does blood obligate forgiveness? His therapist posed. What price are you willing to pay for peace? Answers eluded him. Mark shared his story, reconciling with his own family after years. It wasn't perfect, but it freed me. Inspired, Patrick volunteered at LGBTQ centers, mentoring youth facing rejection. One teen's tale mirrored his. Disowned, homeless. Patrick funded his education, finding purpose in altruism. But personal resolution lagged. A turning point came via a letter from his father, handwritten. Rare. I've been wrong. Attending those meetings opened my eyes. Your orientation doesn't change you're my son. Apology laced with awkwardness, but sincere. Patrick wept, showing Mark. Is this real? They met privately. His father admitted fears rooted in upbringing, church dogma. I thought I was protecting you. Patrick shared his pain. Isolation, self-doubt. Tears flowed. Hugs followed. Not full absolution, but a start. Ben, sensing thaw, organized a family retreat, a cabin in Wisconsin. Neutral ground, he said. Patrick agreed warily. Activities, hiking, bonfires, forces bonding. Around the fire, stories shared. His mother confessed, I was afraid of what people would say. Patrick challenged, And now, she whispered, screw them. I want my son back. Mark joined midway, integrated seamlessly. His parents engaged him genuinely, asking about his teaching. Progress, albeit slow. Yet, betrayal's echo persisted. During a hike, Ben admitted, I envied you sometimes. You were always the smart one. Patrick realized mutual resentments fueled the divide. Forgiveness budded, not erasure, but understanding. Society's gaze evolved too. Positive media coverage highlighted Patrick's philanthropy, shifting narrative from bitter winner to inspirational figure. Debates raged online. Is conditional love ever justifiable? As the retreat ended, Patrick felt lighter. But challenges loomed. Navigating ongoing dynamics, balancing generosity with boundaries. Back in Chicago, the fragile truce tested immediately. Patrick's philanthropy drew family requests, subtle at first. His mother hinted at church donations. Ben suggested business ventures. Patrick set boundaries. I'll help on my terms. Resentment simmered when they pushed. You're loaded now, Ben quipped once. Patrick snapped. And you have the house. We're even. Mark mediated during visits, his calm diffusing tensions. Their relationship flourished amid turmoil, weekend escapes, shared hobbies like cooking. Mark proposed subtly one evening. Someday us. Patrick smiled. Someday. But family shadows tempered joy. A major conflict arose when Patrick announced plans to fund an LGBTQ shelter. His father balked. Do you have to make it so public? Patrick stood firm. This is who I am. The argument escalated, his father retreating to old rhetoric. It's promoting sin. Disappointed, Patrick questioned progress. Ben intervened, siding with Patrick unexpectedly. Dad, times change. Support him. The shift surprised everyone. Ben later explained, I've seen the damage. No more. Brotherhood rekindled, albeit imperfectly. Societal backlash intensified with the shelter's groundbreaking. Conservative groups protested, labeling it agenda-pushing. Online trolls targeted Patrick. Lottery queer buying influence. Security increased. Anxiety returned. Mark worried. Is this worth the risk? Patrick affirmed. Yes, for those like me. Personal toll mounted. Sleepless nights revisited inner conflicts. Moral trade-offs of wealth versus authenticity. Therapy helped, but decisions weighed heavy. Should he cut financial ties completely? A betrayal shattered the calm. Patrick discovered Ben had leaked his story to a tabloid for a payout. Desperate after wedding debts. Proof via emails. Confronted, Ben broke down. I needed the money. Thought it'd blow over. Patrick felt gutted. After everything? The family fractured again. His parents defended Ben. He made a mistake. Patrick saw patterns, excuses for the favored son. He withdrew funds he'd loaned, evoking cries of unfairness. You're punishing us all, his mother pleaded. Mark supported Patrick's stance. Boundaries aren't punishment. Their bond strengthened through crisis, but Patrick grappled with guilt. Was he becoming what he hated, conditional? Reconciliation attempts followed. Ben apologized profusely, offering to sell the house as penance. Take it back. I don't deserve it. Patrick refused. It's not about the house anymore. Deeper issues surfaced: envy, favoritism, homophobia's roots. In a family therapy session, truths emerged. His father admitted bias. I favored Ben because he was normal. His mother confessed fear of societal judgment. Ben owned his cowardice. Patrick shared his damage. You broke me, then wanted me fixed with money. Healing began slowly. Patrick forgave piecemeal, not fully, but enough for coexistence. He invited them to the shelter's opening, a test. The event was triumphant. Crowds, speeches, media praise. His family attended awkwardly, but present. His father even shook hands with attendees, a small victory. Post-event, reflections deepened. Patrick pondered life's ironies. Poverty's rejection, wealth's embrace. Society debated his choices, Articles questioning if lottery wins expose family hypocrisies. Mark and Patrick planned a future. Travel, perhaps marriage. But scars remained, reminders of costs paid. Back in Chicago, the fragile truce was tested immediately. Patrick's philanthropy efforts began drawing family requests, subtle at first but increasingly insistent. His mother hinted at donations for her church's charity drive, framing it as giving back to the community that raised you. Ben, still riding the high of his recent wedding, suggested joint business ventures, like investing in a startup he was eyeing. Patrick listened politely but set firm boundaries. I'll help on my terms, not because I owe anyone. The pushback came swiftly. Resentment simmered when they pressed further. During one phone call, Ben quipped, "Come on, you're loaded now. Share the wealth." Patrick snapped back. "And you have the house they gave you. I'd say we're even, wouldn't you?" Mark played a crucial role in mediating during these family visits, his calm presence often diffusing potential explosions. Their relationship continued to flourish amid the turmoil. Weekend escapes to nearby towns, shared hobbies like experimenting with new recipes in their kitchen. One evening, as they chopped vegetables side by side, Mark proposed subtly, "Someday, maybe something more permanent for us?" Patrick paused, then smiled warmly. "Someday, definitely." But the shadows of family drama tempered even these joyful moments, reminding Patrick that happiness was hard-won. A major conflict arose when Patrick publicly announced his plans to fund and build an LGBTQ youth shelter in the city. The news made headlines, and while many applauded, his father balked during a family call. "Do you have to make it so public? Can't you help quietly?" Patrick stood his ground, his voice steady. "This is who I am, Dad. Hiding it is what got us here." The argument escalated quickly, with his father retreating to familiar rhetoric. "It's promoting sin, Patrick. Think about the example you're setting." Disappointed but not surprised, Patrick hung up, questioning if true progress was ever possible or if it was all superficial. Ben, to everyone's surprise, intervened on Patrick's behalf. Calling their father separately, he said, "Dad, times are changing. You need to support Patrick, or you'll lose him for good." The shift in Ben's allegiance was unexpected but welcome. Later, Ben explained to Patrick over coffee, "I've seen the damage our family's done. No more enabling that." The conversation rekindled a sense of brotherhood, albeit imperfect and tentative. However, societal backlash intensified with the shelter's groundbreaking ceremony. Conservative groups organized protests outside the site, holding signs that labeled the project agenda-pushing and corrupting youth. Online trolls targeted Patrick relentlessly. Lottery queer buying influence with dirty money. He had to increase security around his home and events, and the constant threats reignited his anxiety. Mark expressed his worry one night. "Is all this worth the risk to your safety?" Patrick affirmed resolutely, "Yes. For those kids who are like I was, rejected and alone, it's absolutely worth it." The personal toll mounted higher. Sleepless nights brought back the inner conflicts he'd thought buried, the moral trade-offs of wielding wealth while staying true to his authenticity. In therapy, he delved deeper, asking himself, does blood truly obligate forgiveness, or is it a choice? His therapist posed challenging questions. "What price are you willing to pay for inner peace, Patrick?" Answers continued to elude him, but the process helped him navigate the storm. Then came the betrayal that shattered the calm. Through a tip from his financial advisor, Patrick discovered that Ben had leaked details of his story to a tabloid for a substantial payout. Desperate measures after accumulating unexpected wedding debts. The proof was in leaked emails Ben had sent to the journalist. Confronted in a heated meeting at Patrick's apartment, Ben broke down in tears. "I needed the money bad. I thought it'd blow over, and no one would trace it back." Patrick felt gutted, the pain raw. "After everything we've been through, you sold me out." Again, the family fractured once more. His parents, upon learning, defended Ben instinctively. "He made a mistake, Patrick. Everyone does." But Patrick saw the familiar patterns, excuses always for the favored son, never for him. In response, He withdrew the informal loans he'd extended to Ben for his new life, evoking cries of unfairness from the whole family. "You're punishing us all for one error," his mother pleaded over the phone. Patrick held firm. "It's not punishment. It's protecting myself." Mark fully supported Patrick's stance, reminding him gently, "Boundaries aren't punishment, they're self-care." Their bond only strengthened through this latest crisis, with Mark becoming Patrick's rock in ways that family never had. Yet, Patrick couldn't shake the guilt that crept in during quiet moments. Was he becoming the very thing he hated, someone whose love and support were conditional? Reconciliation attempts followed swiftly. Ben apologized profusely in letters and calls, even offering to sell the family house as a form of penance. "Take it back if you want. I don't deserve it after this." Patrick refused outright. "It's not about the house anymore, Ben. It's about trust." The deeper issues surfaced in these exchanges: long-standing envy, parental favoritism, and the lingering roots of homophobia that had poisoned their relationships. In a pivotal family therapy session arranged by Patrick, raw truths finally emerged. His father admitted his deep-seated bias. "I favored Ben because he was normal in my eyes, straight, traditional." His mother confessed her own fears of societal judgment. "I worried what our friends and church would say if we accepted you fully." Ben owned up to his cowardice. "I was weak, letting them pit us against each other." And Patrick laid bare his accumulated damage. "You all broke me piece by piece, then expected me to fix it with my money." Healing began slowly from there, not as a dramatic turnaround but as piecemeal forgiveness. Patrick chose to forgive in degrees, not erasing the past, but allowing enough space for coexistence. As a gesture, he invited the entire family to the shelter's opening ceremony, framing it as a test of their commitment. The event was a triumphant success. Crowds of supporters, inspiring speeches, and positive media coverage that celebrated Patrick's journey. His family attended, albeit awkwardly at first, but they were there. His father even shook hands with several attendees, engaging in brief conversations. A small but significant victory in Patrick's eyes. Post-event, reflections deepened for everyone involved. Patrick pondered the ironies of life, how poverty had led to his rejection, and wealth to a forced embrace. Society continued to debate his choices through articles and podcasts, questioning whether lottery wins like his exposed the hypocrisies in family dynamics or merely amplified them. Meanwhile, Mark and Patrick began planning their own future more concretely. Travels to Europe, discussions about marriage in a state where it was fully recognized. But the scars from the past remained, serving as constant reminders of the costs they had all paid for growth. As the shelter thrived, Patrick's life settled into a new rhythm, one of purpose and cautious optimism. He expanded his philanthropy, funding scholarships for LGBTQ students. Each act a defiance against the rejection he'd endured. Mark's school benefited too. Patrick sponsored programs promoting inclusivity. Their home became a gathering spot for friends, a chosen family free of judgment. Family interactions normalized gradually. Holidays included Patrick and Mark, conversations evolving from tense to tolerable. His father read books on acceptance, sharing insights awkwardly. "This author says love wins. Progress, not perfection." His mother baked Patrick's favorites, a silent apology. Ben rebuilt trust through actions, volunteering at the shelter, advocating publicly. "I'm sorry for the leak," he said during a brotherly outing. Patrick nodded. Forgiven, but remembered. Their bond mended, forged stronger by trials. Yet, damages lingered. Patrick faced ongoing therapy for trust issues, societal scrutiny fueling self-doubt. A hate group's threat forced temporary relocation, highlighting persistent dangers. "Is change ever complete?" he asked Mark. Mark's response, "No, but we fight anyway." Their relationship, tested by fire, emerged resilient. They married quietly in a city hall ceremony, family attending. His parents beaming, Ben as witness. Vows exchanged amid tears. Through every storm, the wedding sparked media buzz, debates on gay marriage's societal impact. Patrick embraced the platform, speaking at events, My story shows love's cost, but also its worth, reflecting on his journey, from disownment to fortune, betrayal to reconciliation. Patrick pondered the moral ambiguities. Had money corrupted or clarified? Society's verdicts varied. Some praised forgiveness. Others decried it as weakness. In quiet moments, Patrick weighed the prices paid. Emotional scars, lost years, but gained authenticity and love. Was forgiving a family that only changed after a windfall a true victory, or merely a compromise with hypocrisy? As the shelter began to thrive in its first year of operation, Patrick's life gradually settled into a new, more balanced rhythm, one defined by purpose, philanthropy, and a cautious optimism about the future. He expanded his efforts beyond the initial project, funding scholarships for LGBTQ students across the state and partnering with national organizations to advocate for policy changes. Each act felt like a direct defiance against the rejection and pain he'd endured for so long, transforming his personal trauma into collective good. Mark's elementary school benefited as well. Patrick sponsored inclusive education programs that taught children about diversity from a young age, something Mark had always dreamed of implementing. Their shared home in Chicago became a warm gathering spot for a circle of close friends, a chosen family unbound by blood and free from the judgments that had plagued Patrick's past. Weekend brunches filled with laughter, game nights, and deep discussions provided the support system he'd craved. Mark's influence was evident in every corner, from the cozy reading nook to the kitchen where they experimented with global cuisines. Family interactions, once fraught with tension, normalized gradually over time. Holidays now included Patrick and Mark without question, the conversations evolving from stiff politeness to something more tolerable, even occasionally genuine. His father, in a surprising turn, began reading books on acceptance and allyship, sharing awkward insights during visits. This author says love always wins in the end. Makes you think. It was progress, not perfection, but Patrick appreciated the effort. His mother expressed her remorse through small, heartfelt gestures, like baking Patrick's favorite apple pie from childhood recipes, each slice a silent apology for the years of distance. Ben, determined to rebuild trust, proved his commitment through consistent actions rather than empty words. He started volunteering regularly at the shelter, helping with events and even speaking at fundraisers about his own journey of unlearning bias. During a rare brotherly outing to a Cubs game, just the two of them, Ben opened up fully. "I'm truly sorry for the leak, for everything. I was selfish and scared." Patrick listened, then nodded slowly. "Forgiven, but remembered, we move forward." Their bond, once shattered, mended piece by piece, forged stronger by the trials they had both endured. Yet, the damages from the past lingered in subtle ways, refusing to fade completely. Patrick continued his therapy sessions to address lingering trust issues and the occasional waves of self-doubt that surfaced unexpectedly. Societal scrutiny added to the burden. Even positive media attention sometimes felt invasive, fueling debates that questioned his motives. A particularly alarming incident with a hate group sending threats forced Patrick and Mark into a temporary relocation for safety, highlighting the persistent dangers faced by visible LGBTQ figures. "Is change ever truly complete?" Patrick asked Mark one evening as they unpacked in their safe house. Mark's response was steady and reassuring. "No, but we keep fighting anyway. That's what makes it worthwhile." Their relationship, having been tested by every imaginable fire, from family drama to public backlash, emerged more resilient than ever. In a quiet, intimate ceremony at City Hall, they exchanged vows, surrounded only by closest loved ones. His parents attended, beaming with a mix of pride and lingering awkwardness. Ben stood as witness, his eyes misty. The promises they made amid tears, through every storm, every victory, felt like a hard-earned culmination. The wedding sparked a fresh wave of media buzz, igniting online debates about the societal impact of gay marriage and visibility. Patrick embraced the unintended platform, accepting invitations to speak at conferences and events. My story isn't unique. It shows the real cost of love, but also its undeniable worth. He shared anecdotes from his life, emphasizing how societal pressures and family dynamics intertwined in ways that demanded constant navigation. Reflecting on his entire journey, from the brutal disownment that left him broken, to the lottery win that flipped his world, through betrayals and tentative reconciliations, Patrick often pondered the profound moral ambiguities at play. Had the money corrupted relationships, or had it merely clarified the truths that were always there? Society's verdicts on his choices varied wildly. Some praised his path to forgiveness as inspirational, while others decried it as a weakness, arguing that true justice would have meant permanent severance. In the quiet moments of introspection, often shared with Mark over evening walks along the lakefront, Patrick weighed the prices everyone had paid. The emotional scars that still ached on bad days, the lost years of connection that could never be reclaimed, but also the gains in authenticity, love, and a sense of purpose that wealth alone couldn't buy. Was forgiving a family that only began to change after a massive financial windfall a true victory of the heart, or merely a pragmatic compromise with underlying hypocrisy?